Hey, yo, my boy J Ray is dripping in black.
And my boy DJ Sir Daniel is dripping in black.
Q Points podcast is dripping in black.
Welcome to the Dripping in Black podcast, where we celebrate Black excellence. Our special guest host is Toni Kennedy, creator of What's Poppin' Penny.
Hello, and welcome to Dripping in Black. I'm your special guest host sitting in, Toni Kennedy, the writer and creator of What's Poppin' Penny podcast. And I'm here with two of my dearest friends that I only just recently met. They've been taking up space rent-free in my head for many episodes. So I think I know them a lot better than they know me. Let me introduce you to the dynamic duo known as Q Points. Mr. Johnny Ray J.
What's happening, y'all? It's J Ray, Johnny Ray Cornegate III, whatever you choose. For you, Tony, it's whatever.
I usually have all the words.
You do.
They're just never in the right order.
But and they are at the same time.
At the same time.
So I'd also like to introduce your partner in crime, Sir DJ Daniel.
That's me, DJ Sir Daniel. Sometimes Sir Daniel, whatever works.
Oh my goodness. At least I'm consistent, right?
Mm-hmm.
Listen, you got it. You got it. We fam around here. So
Yes.
So I want to know before I talk to you both at the same time, right? I'd like for people to get to know you as I did by listening to you actually as individuals, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're interacting, but boy, you're such individuals and you do shine as such. So is it age before beauty? Is it wisdom before, like, how do we go about this? Who's first?
well, if it's age before beauty, this is definitely me. I'm the elder statesman, only by a couple years, but I am the elder statesman.
Yes.
And Jerry correspondingly is the beautiful one, so we can leave that there.
I think the beautiful thing about Sir Daniel and I working together is when you look at the flow of the show, like Sir Daniel's the anchor. I'm there to fill in and provide some context and be part of the dialogue with him. And that really does work. And one of the reasons why that's true, and so this is kind of like some of the behind the scenes special sauce of Q Points too, is because I'm also, and Sir Daniel knows this, my mind is in a million places when we're like doing the show. So I'm like, is this on cue? Is this ready to go? Are we ready to do the thing? When he says like a thing, like, is it going to come up on the screen? Blah, blah, blah. What do we do if it doesn't stream? So that's my mind as I'm also being in conversation. So I appreciate that the way we flow is I get a chance to it's a dance. I get a chance to, follow Sir Daniel in the dance. And then sometimes I get to dance, right? And then, he'll follow with me. So it's like symbiotic. We work together.
Tell me about the origins of Q Points, because you all this isn't your first podcast together. So, yeah.
So Q Points is officially our first podcast together. But J Ray because J Ray is the way he propped me up as the anchor of the podcast. J Ray is completely like a logistics genius, and trust me when I say he has been very helpful. And amongst our friends, we refer to J Ray as the battery, because he will put a battery in your back. If there is something that you're passionate about, He's going to make sure you do it. Toni, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And so he will make sure, like we would be chatting and spewing ideas back and forth. And the first thing he's like is do that. Oh, we can make that happen. Where are you going to do it? And then next thing you know, there's like a list of things that are supposed to happen in order for your dream to come to fruition. So I said all that to say, we've done podcasts separately. He's helped me as on the production side of one of my podcasts, and I did a podcast way back in the day, like in 2009, with another friend. Back when people were loading up things on Podomatic, that's just how old it was. But yeah. So collectively, we have been doing Q Points now for almost going on 5.
This is our 4th year.
We are in our 4th year now, and it is to J Ray's point. It is a dance. I like to think of us as a rap group. Like we've got the flow back and forth, which is why our logo. If you've all had the chance to see what our cover art looks like, our cover art was inspired by one of the probably the greatest hip hop duos ever, Run DMC. Because we feel like there's just a symbiosis, there's a pattern, there is a wordplay, there's a flow that just works for us. And the only way that I could say that we've come to that is by constantly checking in with each other and being passionate about what we do and planning. We put a lot of planning and dedication into this podcast. So what you're seeing is just 2 brothers that are true to it and just really producing quality programming for all the podcast listeners out there.
Yeah, and I think Q Points has such an interesting origin story because we created the show in the midst of the pandemic.
That's right.
But so the way that it kind of came together is I was working on propping up a project called the Black Music Mixtape, which was a project to kind of shed light on music that I thought people should know about, but probably didn't. And kind of tell the story of that music. And then Sir Daniel was working on a project which became Sugar Honey on the Rocks. But what was
Right.
was it Wild?
It was Women Crush Wednesdays, or anyway, it was a mix show.
It was a mix show.
All vinyl mix show, all women artists. And equipment wise, I was just not there yet. And
but you were also using a platform that was not being helpful
at all.
Well.
And then that led to a conversation between us, and we were just like, wow, we just really have so much knowledge and passion in between the 2 of us. I wish there was something that we could do to put our stamp, throw our hats in the ring and put our spin on it. And the names we came up with were some was kind of fly, and some of them were kind of fly, but I'm glad we came up with Q Points for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so for anybody who is doing themselves the disservice of not listening to Q Points, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what is your show? What is it about?
Q Points Podcast is a podcast dropping the needle on Black music history. I am DJ Sir Daniel.
It starts like that.
It starts just like that. And it's a you're eavesdropping in on a conversation between 2 seasoned hip hop heads, who also have a panache for different flavors of music, even outside of hip hop. And we just have we have a very specific point of view because of our age, because of our experiences in and around the music industry. And we just have these deeper than most conversations. You're not going to hear the latest gossip. Well, you might hear a little bit.
Might hear a little bit.
And we're
I
not
listened to that Drake show. Yeah.
and we're not trying to mansplain you away,
Right.
but we are literally having, some grown seasoned man conversations around music and how it affects us emotionally is where we come from.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just to build on that as well, I think one of the things that makes our show unique, well, two of the things that I think makes our show unique is one, we stand in the tradition of those VJs that we absolutely loved in the 80s and the 90s. So we're talking about Ed Lover and Dr. Dre. We're talking about Fab Five Freddy. We're talking about Donnie Simpson. We're talking about Sherry Carter. Madeline Wood. These are all people that
Ralph McDaniel.
These are all folks that inspired us. We got to sit in our houses as young people and teens and watch them every day tell us what we should be tuning into, right? And opening our minds to this greater world out there. So that's one thing that makes us unique. And then the other thing too is that so much of what we are is a Black culture podcast, right? Music is, of course, our foundation. It's the way that we enter the conversation. But when you listen to Q Points, we actually just talking like we are Black history down. We are talking about the culture. We are talking about what got us to this point, and we are using music as a way to communicate it. So when you listen to us, you're getting a little bit of history, you're getting some entertainment, you're getting a little bit of gossip, and then you're getting this deep knowledge around music from our perspective. We're not there to know everything. So we love it when people like listen to us and say, hey, but here's this thing that you should know about this thing that y'all talked about, blah, blah, blah. Because that's part of the community, right? We're all learning together, but we're here to bring you some stuff that we might think about it differently. So we bring that to the show.
Now, I met your show before I met you. I met Johnny in Air Fellowship, right? Last year?
Yep.
Okay.
Time flies.
I know.
Man.
It felt, that's why I was like, last year, not this year. This is a brand new year. So that's when we actually met, right? And then it was soon after that I met you, Adrian. Is it okay if I call you Adrian?
Listen, it's so funny. So that's my moniker, but people that have known me forever, they go in and out of that. They go between Sir Daniel and Adrian. I like to say what I like to copy Anna Deshawn. I respond to anything respectful. You can call me anything that's respectful. I love it.
Air Fellowship. I'm gonna try to explain what that is, right? But Johnny, you're probably much better at this than me.
You're gonna be fine.
Let's see. So AIR is the Association of Independent Radio, but that also includes podcasts, right? And they have this marvelous program, like aside from all the great stuff that comes with being a member, right? With membership has its privileges, right? So you've got all these great classes and access to all these knowledgeable people that help you avoid the pitfalls of being a new podcaster or someone in that industry, right? But then they have a fellowship program where they brought, what was it, 12 of us?
Oh, no, I think it was more. I think it was more like 17, 18. It was a bunch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was a lot of us.
Okay.
Yep.
So I had on my peripherals. No, I'm joking. So yeah, like 18 of us all together, and we met weekly, and we had specific assignments to help really drill down into the business of our podcast, right? Because we get a lot of joy out of it. But for those of us who also want to pursue it as a business, Air was all about that bag, right? So Johnny and I just connected with you. And it may be because I already thought I knew you. Because as I've told you before, you've been in my house, you've been in my garden, you stay in my car, like you're always there and I'm always talking back to you. And it took me a second to like come to a reality where I have never actually met you. So
Can I tell a fun story? I want you to put a pin. I know I don't know where you're going, Toni, but I want you to hold it because it's going to be brilliant. But a fun pin for everyone. So when we were at Afros and Audio, I just met Toni in person for the first time in October. So when I met Toni, I gave Toni this big hug, and I'm like, "Oh, it's so great to finally meet you." And Toni looked at me like, "I don't what do you know me?" And I'm like, "Yes, I know you, but we just met just now." Because it's see, and then Tony's like, "Oh, that's right. We
That's
have not."
right.
That's the
I
power
gotta
of
put on my
podcasts.
daytime manners. I don't know you like that.
But that's the power of podcasting, right? You know,
So
we have these parasocial relationships with
Mhm.
our favorite podcasters, and you're right. Hearing somebody speaking directly to you, if you have your earbuds in, we're speaking directly into your
Yes.
ears, and that's a very intimate moment.
for me, prior to actually meeting you, I would describe my relationship with you as a very enjoyable high school experience. Like you were the friends I didn't have in high school, or just a couple of friends that I actually did have in high school, where and I would explain, I said to you, Johnny, once that for me, Sir Daniel is the person you meet at the bleachers because you
Okay.
don't need to sit down. He's going to tell you everything behind everything, what's going on, the reason for it, and what take place prior to, and what you can expect to come out of this.
I'm
And
giving you the
you,
lowdown.
Johnny,
The
and you,
bleachers.
Johnny, you're the person you meet at your locker. You got 5 minutes. Got that
That's
90-second bell. Go. And Johnny's going to run it down. He's going to give you the highlights.
and I gotta go, and I will see you later. Back
Yes,
here.
You
at
know
the
what?
An hour.
bleachers.
Right.
That is a perfect analogy.
It really is.
So
Yeah.
when you say your show is about Black culture, the culture, it's also about American history. It's also
Yes.
about the fashions that we're going.
Yes.
It's about the where, it's about the what, it's about the when, but most importantly, it's about the why
Mm,
of Black culture to
yeah.
me,
Yeah.
all encapsulated and made in evidence by the music you present. That's your thesis.
Mm.
Mm, I agree. I mean, I, I, I couldn't have put it better. Like we encompass the contributions of Black people in all corners of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
You know, because everything is connected. I feel like the culture is connected overseas as well because I'm a part of that. You know, I'm one of those immigrant kids that came over really young and has a background that intermeshed with the American background that I grew up in. So yeah, and we bring all of that to to Q Points, and I think that's what we relish the most is that we bring all facets of black, like you said, of Blackness to our podcast.
And yes to all of that. And also, I want to big you up, Toni. Thank you for that description, because that is really important. One of the things that we know to be true is that music is a universal language, right? We did a show 2022. Our brother Bruce Phillips came on and we talked about the Afro Latin experience. For those folks that haven't checked out that show, definitely go back and listen to it. But what was beautiful about that show is because I am this huge fan of like Brazilian music, huge, right? And most of the music that I'm listening to from that culture is in like Portuguese or some language other than my native language of English, right? But that does not change the feeling. I know that the song is about love, even if I don't understand the language. I know that the song is about protest, even though I don't understand the language, right? And so we get a chance to really give people, hopefully, expand their worldview about the music that they're taking in. And not only from Sir Daniel and I, but through you, Toni, through the other listeners that we have when we're live. So there's two components to Q Points we should explain to folks, because not everybody knows that. So there's Q Points, the show, which is often recorded like this, right? There's nobody but us talking. We have a topic, we're going to cover it. We got there because of you, Toni, because of some insight that you gave us too. So thank you for that. Like, see, Toni, you poured into us, right, to get us there. So there's that aspect of the show. But then there's Q Points Live, which is the original, it's the OG version of Q Points. It's the version of the show which we did for probably the first 2.5 years, right? Where we are live, we are talking to each other about a topic, and we are also talking to the audience. So that's what's also important, is it's not just about us sharing the information. It is about this community of people also being part of that conversation. So they're online, we have guests, they're also pouring in. So it's this pouring in where everyone is learning together.
Now, where did you meet?
Oh, we met. It was at
Piedmont Park.
Piedmont Park, May. It is called Indigenous
House. Yep.
Indigenous House. And this is a long time ago. Maybe like 2012 or so. So, okay, let's explain Indigenous House. So Indigenous House is a annual house music event that happens in Piedmont Park in May. So typically like the second or third week of May. And the community gets the opportunity to kind of come out, dance to house music. There are some kind of anchor DJs that happen. And yeah, so I would go every single year. And because I lived in Atlanta. Piedmont Park is located in Atlanta.
Okay.
And I would go every single year. And one year I met DJ Sir Daniel there, but I met you as Adrian. I didn't even know he was a DJ until later.
And just like the thing about what you have to realize about Atlanta is there's no such thing as 6 degrees of separation. It's probably about one right. degree. And we knew a lot of the same mutuals and that were connected through music. And that's how the relationship began. So we were looking at well over a decade of friendship built on just a mutual love for music, mutual love for culture. Again, I think creatives, when are supposed to meet each other, and they put, like I said, J. Ray is a battery. And so I think we all kind of were meant to meet each other and to guide each other in some way or fashion, or to come together on projects and come together as in friendship. And that's exactly what happened. I really truly believe that it was meant to be, that we were supposed to meet. And this is the offspring. Q Points is the offspring of our union per se.
Yes.
And it's just been, and people tell us all the time. First of all, we always get that people think that we're brothers. They think that we're related. Which I think is hilarious, because when people see us together, first of all, when they see us together in real life, yes, we're like, it's like uppercase I, lowercase I.
Right.
Like I'm what, 6'3", and J. Ray is not. Right. and so people always, but then they always like, are you two related? And it's like, no, we're not. We are not. However, we are brothers. We are definitely brothers, and it's like we're linked for life.
Yeah. And real quick, Toni, I want to, because we've never done this. in this format. And so I want to call the name of our brother Jay King Holiday. So Jay introduced Adrian and I at Piedmont Park during that time.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yep.
what's crazy about Jay is Jay also introduced me to Kipper. So Jay has actually been, so it's so funny. Jay is one of those people that I have these angels in my life experience that have just kind of like helped me. If I was going to move to a place, there's typically someone who has been there to be like, you should know that person. And so Jay is actually, I just want to send Jay some love and call his name, because two incredibly pivotal points in my world and in the work that I do happened because Jay was somewhere a part of it.
Now, do you both still live in Atlanta?
I do not.
I'm the only one still here in the metro Atlanta area.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm there a lot though.
Okay. And you're in a witness protection program?
I am in a witness protection program. Right. No, you know what happens? So it's so crazy how life does its thing, right? I absolutely would still be in Atlanta, right? Atlanta is home. It's always home, right? Even as crazy as Atlanta has gotten. And I'm just like, I don't even understand what all of this foolishness is. I still
it's
like
not
this
a real
crazy
place
city.
anymore.
It's not a real place anymore. like I don't get it, but okay. But anyway, no. So I moved back home. So I'm actually in my brother's old bedroom. I moved back home to Chester, Pennsylvania, to become a caregiver for my parents. And what's crazy is both Sir Daniel and I also have that like experience. So I even interviewed him for an article that I wrote a few years ago about caregiving and how important that is. And then having Black men talk about caregiving is really important. So all of these things show up in, I think, the way that we interact, but also the way Q Points is lovingly delivered to the world.
I second that. That's a very apt description of the delivery of Q Points. Which brings me back to, not in a bad way, not in a me way, but what you're saying is resonating with me as the creator of What's Poppin' Penny, because the show is essentially between a Black man and a little girl, his granddaughter, right? And his name is TA, and that stands for Trusted Adult. Okay. And TA hung the moon for Penny, right? And so some of the first letters that I got were from men saying, I love the representation, sis. I love being able to see not only the relationship being played out between me and my grandchildren, but that of me and my children, but also, more importantly, what tickles me right to my soul is these are the relationships between me as a little kid and the men in my life, and I've never seen them before. And here's a whole show just dedicated to that premise of Black men nurturing. So Sean's nurturing, you're nurturing, both of you, right? And all of that makes its way into your show. And it pours into us that are listening. So yeah, it's because I feel that energy. After I listen to your show, I feel a particular energy. And that energy is I feel energized. I feel somehow energized, completed.
That's by design. That's definitely by design. And I thank you and I receive that. As all of us, as we get older, both Jerry and I started experiencing, deaths around us. People that, meant a lot to us. And of course, the world was changing. We were in a pandemic. this crazy man got elected into the presidency. There was a lot of stuff going on collectively. And I just personally was like, okay, where is the joy? Where is the happiness? People are becoming a little way more cynical. Everything is about the gotcha moments. Social media is mean, can be a very mean place. And I'm like, okay, where's the joy? Even as a DJ, going in there with the intention of spreading joy, sometimes you're met with opposition like, no, I want to thug it out. No, I want to be high out of my mind, and I want the music to reflect that. And it just wasn't giving me joy. And so one of the things J. Ray and I discussed was the intention behind the show, and that we did not want to come off as mansplainers. We did not want to just be regurgitating stats of top 5 dead or alive, which has been done to death. We don't want to do that. There's plenty, and I do mean plenty, of podcasts. We're not balloon popping. We don't do any of that stuff. And granted, it might be to our detriment, because those things are flourishing. And sometimes when negativity or things that just aren't as nice tend to flourish faster than things that are decidedly positive. But we're okay with that. If we come from a crockpot generation, I want Q points to be a slow cook. But because you still smelling the flavor. All of it is wafting through the air. I guarantee you, more and more people are going to start showing up with their bowls out, because they know they smell what the Q is cooking. And so, and and everybody else is fine. They're doing their thing, but we have definitely carved out our own space. And we made it specifically for you, Toni, to come by and to feel comfortable, to feel some sense of soothing in this world, that's pretty much a dumpster fire on any particular day. So yes, I thank you, and I received that on behalf of the show. Like, it was all done by design, for sure.
Absolutely. I think in addition to that, there's always knowing that that's what the intention of the show is, keeps us grounded too, because we've definitely made decisions to do or to not do a show. So even, for instance, Toni, you mentioned like the Drake stuff. It's so weird. Like, we were in this whole, and I think it's because the world was in it, but even our approach was different. So like, we ended up in like this Drake mucky muck for a couple of shows. Recently, of course, we ended up in a Diddy mucky muck for a few shows. We ended up in a Ye mucky muck for a few shows. But even within those moments, it is, how do we do this in a way that feeds in that way that you were talking about, Toni, and is not just like a downer. And we're honest on the show. That's when you get some of the messiness, right? Where it's like, okay, yes, this is a fool, and it's a mess, and we're going to admit that. And also, right, whatever comes after that. So I think that's important. But us having that foundation of knowing what the intention of the show is, what the vibration of the show is. If we aren't in some way raising your vibration, or at least not changing or making your vibration darker, we are doing our job. So that's really important for what we put in.
My thought on, yours is not a regurgitating the information that's already out there in the zeitgeist. It's like you have 1,000 aha moments in a show, even though it's out there in the zeitgeist, right? It's funny, and it is definitely born within the cradle of Black culture. the thought process is just, it's like, when you know, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's a shorthand. It's not coded. It's plain as day, but it is a shorthand.
Right.
Um, and it's funny. It's just how we are as a culture, as a people. If we don't laugh, we cry, right?
Mhm.
So we laughing,
Yeah.
imparting knowledge,
Mhm.
and making sure you're okay before we leave.
That's it. Yeah.
That's that thing, right? That's the important part. It's that making sure that people are good. And even there's so much out there, like, because to DJ Sir Daniel's earlier point, right? A lot of that mess, but because people are hearing all the noise, right? You get like bits and pieces of a thing. If we can take that thing and be like, okay, we're going to take this thing and we're going to churn it through this Q Points body and give it and be like, okay, here's what this is and here's what this means. And here's another way to think about it. But Sir Daniel is I see you.
So okay, so it came to me as you were talking, Toni. We are squarely Gen Xers, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
And we were brought up with a particular formula of content. We are the sitcom generation. We are the public the PBS generation.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And what you described just completely reminded, and this is a full circle moment because What's Poppin' Penny um, carries on that tradition. We are children of Sesame Street.
Mhm.
We are children of Mr. Rogers' Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
Mhm.
All of those shows that took care of us.
Yes.
And I think, and we carry that tradition of giving the what, how do they used to put it, putting the sugar in the medicine.
Mhm.
We're going to
Mhm.
give you a lesson, but it's going to be it's going to taste great. We're low-key comedians over here. We like to act a fool. There's no denying that. But at the same time, there is a point. There is something that you're going to walk away with. You are going to walk away with maybe a new point of view, or at least just being exposed to a different point of view. I think that a lot of the misunderstandings that happen today comes from people not being able to see different sides of events and stories. Social media makes it easy to become the main character, and your POV is the only one that matters. When no, that's not true, because one of the pillars that we have in Q Points is two things can be true at the same time. You will hear that ad nauseum in every single episode, is that we will say, yes, Kanye West gave us some magnificent music in the mid 2000s. He is a nincompoop today. Two things are true at the same time. He is wearing a leather black Ku Klux Klan outfit from head to toe. I want nothing to do with him. But Gold Digger, that was my jam in 2005. Two things can be true at the same time. And I think that's just one of the philosophies of Q Points is, in this life, you're just nothing is concrete. There's going to be black and white. There's going to be grays, all kinds of variations of colors in this world. So you picked up right on it, Toni. That's exactly where we got it from. And here you are, like I said, bringing it right back, giving us that caring, because we need that. We need What's Popping Penny. We need boys, specifically boys, to get that tenderness, to have that sweetness that a lot of men specifically are afraid of exposing boys to. But if you don't, what kind of person are you creating to
Right.
walk amongst this planet? You literally are going to be scaring everybody else because you're creating little monsters that have no empathy, and they only know rage, anger, and Yeah, they only know
pleasure.
rage and anger. Those are the only two channels on their dial.
Mhm.
So what are we doing here? We need What's Poppin' Penny. We need cue points to kind of give you that sweetness, that soft touch that we all need.
Thank you. I heard you say pleasure, Johnny, and
Mhm.
immediately my mind said gratification.
Yeah, and immediate gratification too.
Like immediate, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
That's that idea. One of the things that we see even in podcast spaces is not having the ability to have conversations anymore. And to Sir Daniel's point, also to be able to reckon with the multifaceted nature of just kind of like human existence, where the two things can be true at the same time. And hope, and it's our hope that we model that behavior. We model, like, we've had, shout out to Dr. Ed Garnes when he came on the show. He was like, no, like, he told Sir Daniel and I that we were modeling what love between Black men looks like. We're showing what's possible when brothers respect each other and are able to have conversations and what can come out of that. So yeah.
I could go. This is the thing with listening to your show too. I go off on deeper. Like I want to explore more. Like I want to take that one little nugget and I want to explore more and I want to explore more, which means after the show is done, I'm still spending time with you because I'm ruminating over the things that you talked about and exploring more and more and more in depth about the things that you talked about. Um, one of the things that I really liked about your show, when I first started listening, was the conversation. But then I noticed it was like for a show about music, I don't hear any music. And then what I had to start doing was realizing, oh, we're not spoon feeding you, baby. And there is a pause on this show. You can pause. So your show became very interactive for me because you would mention a song that I had no idea about as you're talking about an artist and in their catalog. Maybe I know about them, maybe I don't. Your whole Kaya thing, I had to stop and go and listen and listen and listen and repent and listen.
I love that.
Lots of repenting for the Kaya stuff. Yes.
It's a true
Well,
thing.
oh, I didn't know this was out there this whole time. Oh, goodness. But what I found myself doing is, as you would talk about a song, I would stop your show, pop over and listen to it, and then rejoin the conversation a little bit smarter and be able to go. But now you've done something, like you've taken it to a whole nother level in the show, with the newsletter and with other things. You now have I want to call it a song list, but that's wrong.
Playlist?
Yes.
We do have, yes, we have playlists.
You have playlists.
We have
I mean,
playlists.
and talking about like the bunny, the battery that never stops. You have the newsletter, you have Discord. Name everything that you have,
Ooh.
because I'm gonna miss something.
Oh my. What do
And how do you balance it all?
Child. Okay. We actually have less things than we did, so this is good. So the main things now, and Adrian, jump in if I'm missing anything. But the main things that where people can interact with us. So first and foremost is your home base is our website.
Right.
If you Google Q Points, and it's QUEUE points, if you Google Q Points or whatever, you Bing, whatever, Chat GPT these days, people are using that for search. Our website is the first thing. So qpoints.com. There is kind of the hub to get you to everywhere else, right? So if you're
I'm
coming,
gonna stop you for 1
Yes.
second. Spell Q Points, or at least the first word.
Okay, QUEUE points. So POINTS.
Okay.
Qpoints.com. So that's the hub. That'll get you to everywhere else. If you like, boom, I'm really into social media. Okay, we're Q Points Pod everywhere. There's literally not a place. You could even go to qpointspod.com and it'll just redirect you to the website. But we're literally qpointspod everywhere on social media. If you want to come down a level from there, there's Q Points Magazine. So that is our digital publication. There is blog posts. There is all types of interesting stuff. So there's extra stuff over there. So, and it's totally free to join. If we write a new blog, you can get it right in your email. It's amazing. If you want to come down from there, okay, keep going. We have playlists. So we have playlists in a lot of places. We have playlists on, we have a very active YouTube channel, by the way. So YouTube is a whole other universe. You can watch all the videos of the show. You can listen to the audio of the show. You can catch playlists. So all the playlists that exist in other places are also on YouTube. You can also see all the stuff that we're on that's not Q Points on the YouTube. So if Sir Daniel and I are talking Q Points on somebody else's show, all of that is on YouTube. So there is our store. We have a whole store. You could get Slow Jams Can Heal Us merch. See, we giving y'all merch. We giving y'all fly merch. And when I see we got mugs and things, and those are the main pieces. We are literally everywhere you can think of. And yeah, you have the buttons. We got the Slow Jams Can Heal Us buttons. Boom, boom, boom. You could get them from the website. Yeah, we're everywhere. You can think of, and there's something different. So if you search on Spotify, if you search on Last FM, if you search on the title, if you search on YouTube, you can pick up Q Points everywhere. Playlists, shows, everything.
There you have it. There you have it. You can't even miss it if you try.
No.
Now, Slow Jams Can Heal Us.
Yes.
What's the origin of Slow Jams Can Heal Us?
So, conversations regarding, I don't know, we were just talking about just a disconnect in the community amongst people, but then it really got focused for us when a young lady here in Atlanta came. It's been a while now, but she started an event called Slow Drag.
Mm-hmm.
And her intention
Wait a minute now, for the babies.
Mm-hmm.
For the babies.
All
What's
right.
a slow drag?
So slow drag or slow dragging is basically one-on-one dancing where you actually hold on to each other and you are listening to slow jam music. Music that is romantic in nature, slow, very intentionally romantic language, all of the good stuff, all of the feels. And her name is Whitney. And Whitney created this space specifically for Black people to experience an intimacy that has been lost. So the intimacy is found through specifically 70s slow jams, is how she started it. And so after connecting with her on an episode of the show, Jerry and I just, continued the conversation about, again, what is missing in the greater society. Again, what is missing? What do people need? And then one day we were just like, you know what? Everything is so messed up, but you know what? Slow jams can heal us. And it was like, it was just like, boom. Oh, we need to put that on the shirt. Slow jams can heal us. Slow jams, just the idea of a quiet storm, when the Quiet Storm was really popular format all over the States, people just knew that at a certain time to slow their bodies down, slow their minds down, get themselves ready for restorative rest. People gave themselves an opportunity to do that. And they were also receiving romantic messages. They were receiving messages to titillate themselves, and if you're a couple, you will be titillated, and you will have happy times with each other during that time. And when people did that, there was a lot. They apparently were a lot less aggravated because they were having happier times with each other, and it goes for other people. And so that just came to us and was like, yes, that's what's missing. That connection, intimacy, all of those things that society, social media, television, everything that we are consuming goes directly against, is the opposite of what slow jams provides for us. It's the complete antithesis of what the larger world is trying to tell us that we need. But no, Q Points is saying slow jams can heal you. Slow jam, even if it doesn't have a romantic overture, it could just be slower and have something tender in the message, something that feeds you, something that will nourish your soul. All of those things can heal us. And so that's how we came up with the concept of slow jams can heal us. It was a whole conversation series that you can still go back and check out on YouTube and on qpoints.com. And and hopefully it'll germinate amongst the rest of the world at some point. It may not be today, but it could be tomorrow. And hopefully it'll have a ripple effect on what's happening outside in the world, especially amongst Black people.
Now, if a person is imagining what you're describing, and in their imagination, they get to the conclusion of Dirty Dancing.
Oh, this is different, but similar. This is different, but similar. So here's the thing.
It's Black.
So this is so interesting that you would mention, right? It's so interesting that you would mention specifically Dirty Dancing. So here's the interesting part. So now we're going to go into Q Points land for a minute. Just go with us for a second.
You're going to enjoy it. Go with us.
You're going to love us for this. The beautiful thing, slow jams in particular, is a subgenre of ballad that is identified with Black music specifically. So it's typically very rhythmic. It's typically groovy. There is a difference between a slow jam and a ballad. They are different things. We have a whole thing on TikTok where we talk about, here's 3 artists. This is a ballad, this is a slow jam. And we give you different versions of songs so you can hear like, oh, now I get it.
Does anything come to mind? Because I'm thinking Distant Lover.
Oh my God, that is a slow jam. Okay, a classic slow jam. Actually, Marvin pretty much exclusively did slow jams. I can't even think of like a straight ahead ballad that Marvin has, like a straight ballad. It's hard for me to come up with one. But Janet Jackson, who we did a whole show on, we call her like the slow jam queen. People do not think of her in this way, but I'm like, babies were conceived to Janet Jackson.
For sure.
So on the Janet album itself, there are 2 songs that we point out. One is Again. Again is a ballad. The slow jam is Anytime, Any Place, all day. Same voice, but when you listen to the songs, you're like, oh, when that Anytime, Any Place comes on, you like grooving into that thing, and it's a different experience, right? So the reason why it's so interesting that you mentioned Dirty Dancing is because that style was derived from Black folks and the music that we were creating and the dancing that we were doing. And that's one of the reasons why Dirty Dancing resonates with Black folks. I love that movie. I completely, listen, Time of My Life comes on, and when they're dancing down the little side, they're dancing down the thing and they grooving.
That's a ballad. Well, yeah. A power ballad.
Yeah. What's the that's the song by yes, it's kind of a groovy mid-tempo. But so it's so interesting that you mentioned Dirty Dancing. And the reason why that resonates with Black folks is because that whole movie is derived on, stuff that Black folks would do in Black culture all the time. So we get it.
Plus, there was a whole bunch of Black people in the work staff.
Speaking around that whole thing.
And it just so happened that, the white people were, they were magnified in the movie. But yeah, Dirty Dancing was definitely about the Black people in the back, the help, doing what they did after hours.
Absolutely.
Now, for me, the difference between not specifically the movie Dirty Dancing, but like the moves of Dirty Dancing, right? Specifically, what is different for me between Slow Dragon and Dirty Dancing is that as a kid, you watched your parents slow drag.
Yes.
It was not something that was done in the basement, out of the way at the adult parties.
Right.
The song came on, you could be in the VA. Right. So you know so much about my childhood now.
Listen, shout out to the VA.
Okay. Shout out to them lodges.
Right. The VFWs and whatnot.
And like you said, like Marvin Gaye, Distant Lover comes on.
Yes.
Your parents would go out.
Oh, absolutely.
And they would slow drag. And it was a dance that was, in my eyes, and it was a beautiful connecting dance between adults who loved and cared for each other, right?
Yes,
for sure.
And so as kids, when you would emulate that in the basement at Emily's party on Saturday, right? And the slow drag would come on, there was no Dirty Dancing going on.
No, we didn't know that yet.
No, it was you and Norman Burke, or wishing you were dancing with Norman Burke and you're stuck with Freddie Wainwright.
I love these names.
And you're slow dragging, but it didn't feel threatening, or it didn't feel voyeuristic, or an exploration, or out of control of an exploration of your body. It felt more like a uniting of being with someone who cared about you and would take care of you in his arms or her arms, right?
Listen, I think what people forget, the biggest organ that we all have is the skin. And what was happening back then is people were having more contact, skin to skin contact, that was not necessarily sexual in nature, but it was intimate.
Yes.
And so our skin, what makes it so powerful is it remembers those things. And it shoots off a lot of synapses and all the particles in our brains, and it gives us that good feeling, and the dopamine is released, and all of those good things that keep us human, I think. Because when you deny people that part of themselves, they become something completely ugly, and you don't want that around you. So that, I think those are the things that we can kind of link, and this is completely DJ Sir Daniel's, one of his theories. It's it's non-scientific, but I think that you can connect a line of the decline in that to the uprise in what we have now.
It's more voyeuristic now.
It's more voyeuristic. You got more cheeks clapping, and they ain't using hands. All of that good stuff that's happening now today.
Yeah, I think this is interesting too. And Toni, it's so interesting that you brought into the conversation also being like a kid and like having like parties, that you would go to as kids. One of the things that we talked about in the Slow Jam series is, yes, the intimacy, but also the lesson around consent that taught young people, right? You had to ask in my case, the young lady that I wanted to dance with, if she wanted to dance. And she didn't want to all the time, right? So it teaches you the importance of consent. It also teaches you that everything ain't gonna go the way you think it's gonna go all the time. And guess what? That don't make her a bad person, and it don't make you a bad person. It's just what's happening right now. Go and ask somebody else, giving house party and with Kid and Sydney and Shireen. But anyway, that is another piece of this whole thing that's like in that lesson, that we also realize that it's not, it's the intimacy, it's the connection, it's the way of being together and being close with one another, and also learning these lessons around how do we communicate to our feelings with each other in a way that that doesn't hurt us, right? So that's the other important part of slow jams. Slow jams gave us language. Teddy Pendergrass, Donovan Ramsey, who wrote When Crack Was King, recently wrote something, I believe, on his Substack about how tender Teddy Pendergrass is. I've been screaming this from the rooftops for years. Teddy Pendergrass was like digging deep in that heart and is like, listen, I messed up. The whole town is laughing at me. Philly is a big city. Baby, the whole town was laughing at him because he messed up with this woman that he was with. He screwed it up and he needed to sing about it and tell you not to do the same thing. That is why this is important.
That whole series you did on slow jams, I absolutely love it and encourage everybody to go and listen to. I'm all over your fear. I started at the beginning, and then when you put one out, I have to pop up to the top and then go back down to the. No matter where you start, you're gonna love the show. You're gonna get
Thank you.
something really deep and meaningful out of the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And make sure you check out those playlists and remind us again where we can find you.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna do my whole thing. So
Yes.
here's how the
Okay.
show normally goes.
Go ahead.
So if you can hear our voices and you can see our faces, that is amazing. So visit qpoints.com for those of you that are checking out Dripping in Black. Make sure you go over to qpoints.com. It's your gateway to all things Q Points. You can check out old shows. You can visit our magazine, Q Points Magazine, and check out all of the stuff we have there. That's magazine.qpoints.com. On social media, we're at Q Points Pod everywhere. And if you want fresh gear like Slow Jams Can Heal Us, you can visit our store at store.qpoints.com. Our homegirl right here, Toni Kennedy, is over on Q Points Magazine as well. We have an amazing conversation where we're talking to Toni about What's Poppin' Penny. Should check that out. But yeah, you can find us everywhere. Real quick, so Toni, before we go, I just want to say this. Keep going. What's Poppin' Penny is so important on a number of levels, but in particular, our children need to hear it. And especially now with the things that are going on with the assaults on public broadcasting and all of that stuff, it's going to be platforms like yours that are the gap, because there's now going to be a gap, and What's Poppin' Penny is sitting in that gap. And so I just wanted to, before we get out of here, just remind you of how, one, is dope work, but two, it's also just so critically important. It is going to fill a need that I don't even think folks realize yet. So I just wanted to let you know that before we get up out of here.
Well, thank you. So have either of you or both of you ever been on the cover of a magazine?
No.
Well, Drippin' in Black is about to change that.
Really?
Stop playing.
Yes, because after the interview is over.
Wow. Oh. And our artwork is on.
And our artwork is there. That's super
dope.
Cool.
That's so
This
dope.
will be, you can take a screenshot of it now if you'd like, but you'll be receiving this in the mail.
Oh my God.
That's so
yeah.
cool.
I wish I had
Awesome.
mine to show you, but I don't have it down here. But yeah, isn't this beautiful?
That is totally beautiful. And I see y'all have the record back there, the OG Q Points record and all of that. That's super cool. Thank you.
That y'all
Drippin' in Black is the bomb. That's what's up.
Drippin' in Black is the bomb.
Y'all put a lot of care into that, and we greatly appreciate that. Thank you so much. Wow.
I love that.
Man, we on the magazine, J. Ray.
I'm saying.
Y'all on the magazine. Look
And
at
we
that.
didn't have to,
We didn't have, right.
we didn't have to do nothing strange.
We didn't have to do a 2025 thing to get on the magazine.
Not a 2025 thing.
Exactly.
It's in different worlds.
Oh my gosh. So it was wonderful talking to you both. You know what I'm living for. Sir, DJ Sir Daniel, I need to hear the closing words. Yes.
All right, I think I could do that.
Yeah.
Well, it's like I always say, in this life, you have a choice. You can either pick up the needle or you can let the record play. I'm DJ Sir Daniel.
And my name is J. Ray.
And this is Q Points Podcast, dropping the needle on Black music history. We will see you on the next go round. Peace.
Peace.
Peace. And this is Toni Kennedy, thanking all of you for joining us tonight on Drippin' in Black. And thank you to Sean and Dominic and Al for allowing me to come in and guest host this incredible legacy of a podcast.
Peace, y'all. Yay!
On the next Dripping in Black podcast, we head down to Duval County and speak with Elise Rose, creator of Thriftnik and Auntie Outside.
I was on the overlooked side, or what I felt like was the overlooked side, and I felt like nobody saw me. My friends and family, they would find value in me. At the time, I was working at the Housing Authority, and then I left there after like 7 years and went to the bookstore at my alma mater, Edward Waters. And I felt like those groups of people saw me, but I just felt like there was more people that I wanted to reach that may feel like I feel like, why is it that I'm always so overlooked? And it just came from me putting myself out there, but I couldn't be outside and outward until I was good inside.
Thanks for vibing with us. Keep the conversation going. Like, subscribe, and follow at DIBK20 on social media. Visit drippinginblack.com for all things Dripping in Black and DIBKDripShop.com for your drip and other merch. Until next time, be well and much love.
You have just experienced a Dripping in Black production.